I was watching this Lords of the Fallen dev interview, and I noticed some different things here for us to pay attention. What are the things that they are innovating in the game? The first one is this. Pay attention on his words right now. The dev words, not mine, okay?
Our heavy attacks are just as fast as light attacks. Like, there's no difference. They still concatenate. The difference is that you can hold them. You can hold them as much as you want.
The heavy attack, the charge attack here in Lords of the Fallen, it's really different from the other Soulsborne, Souls-like experience that we had before. What happens here? You can charge as long as you want, but it won't come to a time that the attack is gonna unleash out of nowhere, you know? So that is the danger, because, for example, Elden Ring bosses, Dark Souls bosses, the boss does 3 attacks, pa, pa, pa. And you know that between the 3rd attack and the 4th attack, you're gonna have a window, a time window, that you can perform the full unleashed automatic charge attack. And you can delete bosses in that way. But what is happening in Lords of the Fallen? Basically, you can hold as much as you like, and you can unleash that at the time that you feel comfortable unleashing. So this will bring you a more fluidity, but at the same time, it will make you vulnerable to some enemies, because you really have to understand the timing for you to be responsible on where to unleash the attack. You won't be able to count with the predefined time window of charge attacks on Dark Souls and other games. When you do a heavy attack, you will take a longer time to perform that attack, right? And when you do a light attack, it's so much faster. In this case, the light attack and the charge attack, or the heavy attack, they will have the same speed. It will depend on the time that you commit to make the heavy attack stronger and heavier and more damage as well. But basically, if you do just one click, it will have the same. They will have the same speed. So that is really interesting, really challenging, and I'm really eager for that to happen. Okay, what I'm gonna play for you right now is one of the things that got me most excited. This is something that for me is a huge deal. It's not a big deal. Actually, everything that he said here, I loved it to the core. You know, so pay attention to this.
Anything you see in the game world, you can use it. Like any gear from any enemy, any magic they use, anything, like any weapon. This is something that was very important for us. This is aspirational. You see that guy like, hey, how did that I don't know, fire witch drop this fireball, right? Like what's going on, right?
You can cosplay her.
How many games have you played that you saw an armor on an enemy that you said, oh, I really would like to use this, and then you see that you cannot farm it, you cannot have it, you cannot conquer it, you cannot achieve that, something that will give you the armor. It's basically unachievable. It's something that you cannot grasp. You know, in this game, in Lords of the Fallen, everything that you see in the game, you will be able to have. I think that you will need to farm for some things, like some enemies you need to farm. Maybe is a different drop rate for enemies. One of the things that I consider the most in a game is transmog and different types of combinations of armors and weapons, and if I look good or not. I don't know, do you guys consider that when you're playing a game? Because, for example, my build in Lords of the Fallen will be the Werewolf. It kind of has that Nordic feeling that I love. I love Nordic mythology. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take that strength, heavy attack, berserker, marauder build, and I'm gonna like put a little bit into faith and radiance, and put a spell buff on my axe to make it a Thor build. Lightning on the hammer to destroy everything with my thunder and lightning powers. But for you to do that, you need to have style. You need to have maybe some type of clothing and armor that you feel that is necessary for your aesthetic. Something that happens to me is, for example, I'm playing a game and I start this narrative in my mind that I want to be that type of class, that type of figure that I imagine. But when you play like 15, 20, 30 hours, you change that a little bit. So basically, you want to be like a hellspawn and have some like fire spells in the meantime. Maybe you want to switch builds and you want to change the thematic. You want to be like a full paladin, you know, not like a strength faith build. You want to go full faith, you know, and you want to have the piece of armor to match that. So the game that offers that, and you can see they mention even spells that they are casting. You can get the spells. A whole universe of possibilities. If you've ever done that, you play, like, you found an aesthetic that is really interesting to you, but you want to go to another direction and change the theme a little bit, like have a new nuance in your build, a new nuance in your transmog or in your armor combination. Imagine all the possibilities, all the combinations that you can do to feel like a badass in this game. That is the real deal. This is why I play RPG games, to feel an immersive vision of what I'm supposed to be in another life, which is unattainable right now. We saw a lot of gameplay and a lot of like scenes from the combat in Lord of the Fallen, but actually I heard that they will have different stances for you to switch seamlessly throughout the game and throughout the playability on your style.
You can switch stances or in between attacks seamlessly, like from here, here.
So they mentioned that you will have like innumerable possibilities to change the combat that suits you better. For example, you are dual wielding daggers, and then you can do like a stance that you can one wield a dagger and do like heavy attacks and etc.
I was doing dual daggers, and then I would do a dual dagger combo, and then I would switch, and then the next hit would be like two-handed one dagger and a little stab.
As curious as it may seem, I didn't actually see a gameplay that they are switching seamlessly all the stances, but I didn't see that change of instance, because when he mentioned that you can switch from here to here to here, one of the things that I immediately remember is like For Honor gameplay. I don't know if it will be something like Wukong, that you can have like three fixed positions and fixed stances to use, but I really would like to have a video, like a full video just explaining how the stances work. But here it is. They mentioned that you will have different stances, and you will be able to change that according to your combat style. This you probably didn't know. I was caught by surprise. We all know some footage of people playing co-op in Lords of the Fallen, but I didn't know that you would have PvP on the game.
A lot of freedom for PvP. Well, PvP aside.
So now the developer mentioned that you will have a PvP on Lords of the Fallen. I don't know if you knew that, because we didn't have any footage of duels or invasions. I don't know. So the immense possibility of builds, because for example in Elden Ring I have more than 30 builds for PvP specifically. In Lords of the Fallen I will obviously play PvE, but I would love to play PvP and like be good at it. Take that as a profession and being as good as you can get on PvP. That's what I really like. And doing like so many different runs and finishing the game to get specific items and stats for builds. I really enjoy that. One of the words that they most mentioned in this interview was the fluidity. This game will be a fast-paced game. So if you remember, they took the feedback of the first Lords of the Fallen, which was a slow-paced game, super slow attacks, slow defensive system, and I enjoy the game because I enjoy games that are slow, because I give me time to think, I guess. I don't know. Like, what a piece of shit of an excuse I just gave. But anyways, it's something that I like, but I don't mind the fast pace. I like both of them equally. But they mentioned that the game will be fast-paced, like switching between different types of magic, switching between different stances and weapons. Don't come to this game thinking that it will be the same experience as the first one, or, for example, a Mortal Shell kind of experience, because this will be so different. And I think that as far as we could see in the footage of gameplay, it will be much faster than Elden Ring and Dark Souls 3, for example.
Fluidity, faster, and faster still. The healings, super quick.
When he mentioned that the healings are quick, is something that I really enjoy, because, for example, how many times did you die on a Souls game because you were healing? In this case, that won't be a motive of death. That, like, if you can heal fast, you need to be good to fight the bosses, And something that really gets my attention, a good Souls-like game and a Souls game, whatever, Soulsborne, is when the game and the devs know how to take advantage of the predictability of the enemies, the space, and everything that you can use to have a fluid gameplay. So when you understand that, for example, who fought Midir? Midir, it's an endurance fight. Basically, you die 300 times, basically. And when you understand the movement on Midir, it becomes predictable and it becomes enjoyable. And when you beat Midir, you feel that ecstasy, that feeling of overcoming anything that was impossible in your life, you were able to overcome. So this understanding of predictability is something that they mentioned a lot of times in this interview, and it seems like they got what a Souls and a Souls-like and a Soulsborne game must feel like. Let me ask you for a kindness. If you are here right now, is because you enjoyed this video. Like the video, subscribe, activate the notification bell, and let us spend more time together. I'm here for you. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for being here with me on this video. Until now, and see you on the next one.